No Doubter Nation, after a brief 2 week break, we are back covering Major League Baseball action. The second half is in full swing now of the 2022 Major League Baseball season. The All-Star game is over. Trade deadline is approaching. So we're seeing some of the best baseball coming, most compelling storylines shape up at this point right now. It is a fun time of year to be all in on Major League Baseball, and we are bringing it all right here to you. I'm your co-host, Travis T-Bone Laughley, with my right-hand man, Barrett Boom Bostic, as always. Boom, how are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling well. I can't believe it's the second half of the season, and just before we know it, the second half's going to be, it's going to go by like that. And of course, we had the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby. I always love that time of the year because this is the time of year where baseball. This is really the only major sport in America right now. It gets all the spotlight.
Yeah, man. We'll talk here about the All Star game soon. I don't know about you. Just quick hit here before we get going any further. I felt that there was an energy with the All Star game that
Ah,
I hadn't
yeah,
felt in quite a while. I think
yeah,
for one thing, it was out in L.A. I mean,
yes.
Dodger Stadium is just an iconic historic baseball environment out there. And then when you go to LA, it's always a party. So it just seemed like
Oh yeah,
everybody was having fun. The environment out there, having Julio Rodriguez as one of the many players was
yeah,
mic'd up at one point. Like you just got to see the personalities and the fun
yeah.
part of baseball on full display. And just, seeing all the people there in the stands, like people wearing all sorts of different jerseys, sporting different colors here of the All Star game. A fun time for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll dive more into that in a second because first, once again, as we've been bringing back more lately, we're gonna do a segment that's a favorite of ours here. And we know a lot of y'all probably enjoyed it too. You get to participate in it during this time if you want with us as well here. Friends, we're talking about pour and score.
Yes.
We're about to preview a beverage each of our own here for you guys on the show. We love this segment because we think it is the way to enjoy America's greatest pastime, whether you're at the game, you're on the couch, you're out in the backyard with the radio on, going old school that way. Uh, Whenever you're enjoying America's greatest pastime, you need a nice cold beverage in hand, or a glass of wine, a whiskey, a scotch, whatever you're feeling here. And we ultimately highlight, these local brewers, distillers,
Mm-hmm.
winemakers. Wherever something comes from locally, we love to give the attention here rather than just the big wigs all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, as we like to say, when you pour, you score. And boom, I'm going to throw it over to you to start out this segment tonight.
All right. Well, I got a very special beer this evening. It is a brewery that I've never really had a beer there before. I got 2 6 packs from this brewery, and it is a brewery in Fort Worth, Texas. I've heard a lot about it, so I finally decided to try them out. It is from Martin House Brewery in Fort Worth, Texas. And this is a beer that I had last night. So, full disclosure, it's not the first time I've had it. It's the second time, but I decided to bring it on because it is just that special. This is a West Coast IPA presenting from Martin House Brewery in Fort Worth, Texas. It's simply called Friday IPA. There you go, Friday IPA. Cover art is just a guy chilling and on his porch drinking a beer. Gotta love it. I'm going to read a quick description of it here. They say Friday IPA is now year round. This beer is everything you've ever hopped for. In
I
an
see what they're
IPA.
doing there.
Yep. It's dank, hoppy, and juicy. Friday is brewed with a hefty amount of Mosaic, Chinook, Amarillo, and Simcoe hops. My goodness. This beer is a flavor bomb. Fans of Northeast style IPAs are sure to enjoy its hoppy aromatics and tropical flavors. So, all right off the bat, you got the West Coast hops, but they're saying that you've got some tropicalness and some aromatics to appease the East Coast IPAs there. It is 6 ABV, 59 IBUs. And so, right off the bat, what you'll notice is the IBUs are mid range. It's not, a heavy bitter beer in terms of the numbers. The ABV is all PA, you're going to see the IBUs creep up into the 80s and the alcohol creep up to like the 7 and 8. But this one is kind of a mid level, so it's dialed back a little bit, which leads me to believe it's going to be approachable. And I know I had it last night, but it's going to be a refreshing way to do it again. So Have you ever had a beer from Martin House, Travis?
The name sounds very familiar. And that can looks very familiar as well too. So I want to say I've either picked up a pack of that at the store before, or, I've had it on tap somewhere. But yeah, I think I've had that one.
Yes, so it'll be a good reminder for us all. I'm kind of pouring it in a kind of a customized Bostic Brewing Company glass. There we go. It doesn't exist, but I think my parents made it for me, and I've kept it around because, I mean, hey, it's got my nice name on it, and it's cool. So quite a lot of head to it. So as it's cooling down, very nice color to it. Not super orangey, but it's still a rock solid IPA kind of color. Not very translucent. A lot of action to it. Great nose to it. The hops are there. I can tell, and you can smell the flavors too. It's just so enticing. So I'm just gonna dive right into it. This is so good. This is so good. This is similar to the Yellow Rose. It's that kind of IPA that's approachable, and yet it's got a body to it. The bitterness is there, but it's not dialed all the way up. It got a lot of hops throughout. You kind of feel it on the back end. It's like you feel in the front, and then you feel some more in the back, and the flavor just kind of stays with you the whole time. Mm. 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 Yeah, I mean, it really sits in, but it's not too endearing. I'm a huge fan of this beer. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't say that often. I mean, I just think it's great. I'm a West Coast IPA kind of guy, but I mean, and this is reminiscent of the Yellow Rose, and so, man, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. Yeah,
Nice.
I think it's awesome. Now, because I'm a Yellow Rose fan, and this is more in the realm of it, God, I love this thing. You knocked it out of the park, Martin House. You created a really good West Coast IPA that's approachable, and it's just, I love the flavors. I would highly recommend it for you, Trav. You should pick it up.
Love it. Yeah, no, I want to say I've seen that one in regular rotation at like Tom Thumb and Kroger. So I will have to keep an eye out on it and swoop it up the next time I'm there. Love it. Well, I'm as we're both resident hop heads here on the show, so I'm staying in the same vein that as well. A brewery that we've highlighted several times before in the show, bringing it back to one of their seasonal beers here from Community Beer Company. It is it's all about the peace, love, and hops, y'all, because it is the Hop Unity IPA here.
Nice.
So Orange Edition American style IPA featuring Nectaron, Motueka, I think that's how it's pronounced, and Mosaic hops, 8.2% ABV. No real description here, but go ahead and open her up,
man, and
got the. Last time I tried to pour it over, that almost poured all over my keyboard, so I will not do that. I will we'll pour it separately here from the camera.
There you go. I am becoming a very big fan of this brewery, Community Brewery, but I've never had this, so I'm very eager. Excuse me to see.
So yeah, this one also has quite the head on it right now. So as we let it die down a little bit, once again, it's a just kind of a golden orange, yellow, somewhat translucent. But yeah, you can definitely see that it's got the mosaic in it. Nose to that, very hoppy, very very IPA standard to it. And then. Ooh. Oh, it goes down so smooth.
Ooh.
This is up there. I want to say I feel like I'm drinking something very similar to yours. The way you described it is, it goes down smooth, but the hops are, full and bold, and they you can feel them at the front, but they also come in at the back end as well too. It's got that kind of golden ale personality a little bit to it there, and it's all wrapped up in the style of an IPA. So I would take another sip here. Man, I've really enjoyed. I've had a couple of these in the pack I picked up so far. I would definitely give this a 9 out of 10 on my end. It's very much up there in my wheelhouse in terms of IPAs. And just the enjoyment of it. Like, when you open it first sip, it's like it's enticing, but it doesn't like. I also don't feel the need to force it either. It's like I can truly sip on this because throughout like the entire sip, or if I'm taking a bigger swig of it, it's so bold and it's so complete the entire drinking experience of how just the dance that it does in your mouth and how it goes down. It truly is perfect. And so I think this is something, if you are warming, I think it kind of sounds similar to yours. If you're warming your palate up with your beer taste more into towards the realm of IPAs, I think this is a great IPA that, even the hoppiest of hopheads can respect, but also one that this might be just a great beer to give a try and could really warm you up to IPAs in general. So, like I said, good solid 9 out of 10 for me on this one. And then once again, this is the Hop Unity Orange Edition American Style IPA seasonal brew of Community Beer Company, featuring Nectaron, Matuka, and Mosaic hops. So West Coast style IPA here tonight.
There you go. It's just, we never plan what beers we're going to have on these episodes, but I think this has been one of our best porn scores we've ever had. I mean, we've had ones where we've both been 9 out of 10. We've had ones where we both been 8 in the 8s, but a 9 and a 9.5, that's that's huge. So I love it when it happens like that, and it's all local too, because we're DFW, and you got the Dallas and the Fort Worth.
Yes, so, absolutely. We drink local, whether that's local to here to DFW, if we were drinking local to like a part of the country or specific cities. We can find brews at the store. Our craft from other parts of the country. We just want to highlight ultimately, the drinks that we like that affect the local economy of different places as much as we can. We're really happy to do that both with a couple of DFW area brewers here and beers that we really, really enjoy from them. So it's just this, I would say this is up in the top 5 of our porn scores that we've had to this point. So cheers, friend.
Cheers, man. The second half of the season begins, and as we end off this segment, we want to encourage our audience please drink responsibly. So
yes, sir, as always, the only way to do it.
Way to do it.
So we got a lot to talk about on this show tonight. Boom, remind me which direction we're going here as we exit porn score land, because we recapped a lot right before we hopped on here.
Yes, well, we got to start off our weekly MLB episodes like we always do with the No Doubter of the Week.
Oh, of course.
Before we even get into the nitty-gritty. So, I'm going to be pulling up the screen, and once again, this is a repeat winner. He has won before, and he has won again because he's just that good.
We can't deny it. It's like he's earned his placements on this show.
Yes. So to set the scene, it's New York Yankees versus the Baltimore Orioles, playing in Baltimore, top of the third, man on second. Who else is up? The AL MVP frontrunner Aaron Judge. He's playing out of his mind right now, and they moved the left field wall back several feet. That was a recent addition, and this is the first season that in Baltimore that left field wall is moved way back. So it should be harder to hit out of the left field, a homer to left field, right? Wrong. Kremer throws the ball, and boom. Aaron Judge, he just hits the crap out of it. It's just like, as soon as he hits it, you just know it's gone. And that guy just didn't stand a chance. This guy, Judge, man, he's just leading everybody in homers by 1.5 miles. It's just, I don't know where he gets the motivation this year. He's just, yeah, we're going to see him one more time, and just absolutely no doubt, the perfect swing. He follows through with it. It's just gone. I mean, there's no other way to it. My goodness. Aaron Judge.
Yeah, the Judges that the Yankees are now in the middle of the Subway Series right now versus the Mets. They're playing out at Citi Field right now.
Nice.
So they've headed across the river over to Long Island right now. And Judge, I think, has a couple of homers tonight already. He's trending now, I think, at this point for that. He has 38 on the year now, after so far this evening, the last time I checked. And then I think he's trending on pace for 63 before the regular season is over, which is just absolutely insane. And I'm going to share this as well, too, here in a second.
Do it.
Because I found this on Twitter that was very interesting.
Yes.
I can pull up the correct tab here.
Guys, if you're not listening, if you're not watching us on YouTube, but you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you can see the visual aspects of the show.
Yep, we're on YouTube. We also stream it here through our Facebook and Twitter for the podcast, and then also on our personal Facebook and Twitter pages as well. So you can see us there if you're connected in those places. But I'm going to go ahead once again and share here. So found this here just on Twitter, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah, the pitch locations of Aaron Judge's 2022 home runs. So basically, you can see if it's in the strike zone, this man can hit it, and he can even get it a little bit out of the strike zone too. And he can literally hit, he can hit any type of pitch thrown at him as well. I mean, most of these are sinker sliders and enforcing fastballs. I think I see a changeup hidden right behind there in the graph. And then you got a few curveballs as well. I mean, just what can we say? Aaron Judge makes it happen. He's an absolute beast offensively. He's been a big part of the Yankees' success this year in the American League East race. So, we can't be unimpressed by any stretch. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the free agency buzz with this man is going to be insane. So congrats to you, Aaron Judge. You are a repeat winner, like CJ Cron. So we have 2 repeat winners for No Doubters of the week so far, but it's still a long way to go. So,
yep.
Good old fun there. That was 456 feet, 111 miles an hour off the bat. He hit that one off of a curveball. So while he mostly does it off the fastball and the sinker and the slider, every once in a while you throw a curveball at him up in the zone, he's just gonna. We all know what's gonna happen. So, all right. Before we get into the meat of the show with the trade deadline, we're gonna give our thoughts on the home run derby and the All-Star game. Starting off with the home run derby. Now, I got to watch. I watched the whole thing from start to finish. Trav, did you have a chance to watch any of it?
I had the TV on and I was there, but I was also kind of mentally distracted that evening. So there were periods that I was really into it, and then I kind of zoned out. But by the end there, after Pujols got eliminated and was down to Soto and what's his face,
Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez. I caught it. I then reeled it back in at the very end there and was engaged with it. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was a good event this year.
Oh yeah, and I just can't believe that Pujols made it past the first round. I mean, I filled out so many home run derby brackets, and none of them had him beating Schwarber. But I mean, that honestly, apart from Julio Rodriguez hitting over 30 home runs in the first 2 rounds, I mean, that rookie just smoked it. I mean, but Pujols winning against Schwarber, that was hilarious. And then Schwarber bowing down to Pujols. So that was awesome. The rookies always do good in the home run derbies because the people who've made their money they don't care. They're just like, I don't care. I don't want to go too hard. But if you're a rookie, you can make double what you're making in a year because Julio Rodriguez was second place. Juan Soto did win. It's the first home run derby that Soto has won. He's participated before, including last year. But Soto's not a free agent yet, so he gets a bonus. Julio Rodriguez, he gets the amount like 700K, 750K to be exact. So his salary this year doubled because he made it all the way to the finals. So and then I was rooting for Pete Alonso. This guy was a two-time home run derby champ, but he ends up going down. That was an epic matchup between him and Julio Rodriguez. It's just you just got to go for the young blood, I guess. But the home run derby is fun. It's iconic. It celebrates the live ball era of baseball. Soto ended up winning, and there's so many jabs because his own team did not fly him to this event. He had to fly commercial. He shows up at 1:30 a.m. and he ends up winning that evening. So much pettiness going on behind the scenes. So but then we get to the All-Star game. Now I know you watched this.
Yes, I did. It was much more engaged with the All-Star game. Had it on over at a friend's place. Really locked in on it through about halfway through. Was in the car when Martin Perez went in and threw his 1-2-3 inning there. I think it was in the fifth or the sixth, and then caught the very tail end of it. So I got home and low scoring game, but still very compelling from beginning to end.
Oh yeah, and it seemed like the National League was going to win. They were up 2-0, and it's like, yes, this is it. But the American League wins yet again. I mean, they're on like a 9-year win streak or something like that. And I know that Stanton, he hit a bomb off of Gonsolin. He's really the reason why the National League lost, is because you had Stanton and Buxton going back to back. And that's 3-2 right there. And Stanton ended up winning. It's just MVP. They're just going to give it to some guy who hits a home run. I mean, that's to be expected. But Framber Valdez did get the win, and he's an Astros pitcher, so I did want to point that out. Tucker didn't really do a whole lot. Verlander did not pitch. I'm just talking about the Astros. Altuve wasn't there. Alvarez wasn't there. But there were so many mic'd up moments in this game. It's just if it doesn't count for anything, you got to go all in. Just mic up everything, and I love that so much. The coolest moment was when you had Nestor Cortez and Jose Trevino of the Yankees talking to each other while they're pitching, and Trevino's like, "What do you think we should do now?" It's like, "All right, so we do fastball high inside. Yeah, let's do it." It was so legit. It's like, all right, now what should we do? It's like, do I want to do it again? I love that. I think baseball do more of that, if at all, if whenever possible.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for that to be an every single night kind of thing.
True.
And stuff, and every night type of thing, and just how finicky the game of baseball is, where you don't you don't want to. It's fun at the All-Star game when the stakes are low, but like to have somebody in your ear when baseball players are such creatures of habit, and like you are getting and you just kind of get off a split second on something, and like that that turns into a Nelson Cruz moment for the at the worst possible type of time, and then it's a matter of looking back at losing a game that way, of being a wild card spot versus a division winner, or outright missing the playoffs, or I don't know the way to make that work. It's like an all the time type of thing for baseball, but it was certainly fun to watch.
It was. So they should definitely do it. Just continue to do it during the All-Star break. But if in regular season games, just mic up anything. I mean, whether you mic up one player and they're cool with it, have mics at first base. It's just people enjoy the behind the scenes action, and there's some way somehow it's moments like these that are going to galvanize young fans into becoming bigger fans. I understand you can't do it every game. You might not even be able to do it for all the games, but there might be one instance in which, you know, we already have pitch calm, but maybe I get what you're saying. They probably couldn't openly talk to them during the at bat, but all I'm saying is that it was cool, and I can just hope for the best. But a good all-star game. AL wins again. The dominance of the AL continues, and Giancarlo Stanton gets the MVP. So, and it was in LA for the first time since 1980, and that ballpark is a fair ballpark for home run derbies. It does not favor right nor left because it is perfectly symmetrical.
Yep, it is congruent.
Yes, there is no advantage. Unlike last time. Last year, lefties had a huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder Alonso won. Yeah. But next year, it will be in Seattle. So that's going to be a party. That ballpark is awesome.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people will travel up there for sure, and the Seattle sports fans will
get a break from the heat.
Yeah,
that's for sure. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. A week from today, it is the trade deadline. We will do an episode the night that the trade deadline ends to recap it. So 1 week from today, y'all need to join us. We will give our instant reactions because next Tuesday, August the 2nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, that's when it's all going to go down. And it's going to be insane. So we need to preview the biggest candidates. And you can't start off a list like without Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals. He's a top 5 player in the game. You might even say top 3. He rejected a $440 million deal from the Nationals. It had a low AAV, but it's still $440 million. It would have been the largest contract in MLB history, but he rejected it. So the Nationals are being petty. They hate each other. They cannot wait to break up. But
they got their World Series
they did
2 years ago, and they've just decided to return to complete incompetence and tomfoolery as a front office.
Well, they are about to change owners. The Nationals are. So given that fact, they don't want to deal with a huge guy like Soto with a new ownership set to take place. They want to just clean it shop and just start from the ground up. So it's the perfect storm. It just happens to be Soto's contract year and new ownership. So they are just going to sell everybody. I mean, I would hate to be a Nationals fan. It's like you're on top of the world in 2019 and now you're bottom. No consistency.
Yeah, it's rough times up there in our nation's capital.
Yes, I mean, but it's just Soto. There's teams are going to have to give an arm and a leg for this guy. I mean, you're talking about 5-for-1, 4-for-1 trade hypotheticals, and it's insane. I don't know. It's just a team's got to be really desperate to have an epic superstar. I don't even know. I mean, I'm gonna scroll on down to contenders. I know the Yankees might want a piece of the action. I know the Mets are expressing interest in Soto. I mean, the Dodgers, you can never really tell with the Dodgers because the owner does not care about money. He thinks money grows on trees. But Padres are an outside favorite, maybe even the Mariners. But man, I mean, he's by far the biggest name. So I can't wait to see where this guy goes because he's going to be on any of those teams that I just mentioned. Yeah, Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, Padres, they're all contenders.
Yeah, I'd love to see my Rangers go after him, but we decided that picking up Dallas Keuchel off of waivers is going to is going to lead our team to the promised land of wild card here in 2022.
Oh, he did win the Cy Young in 2015. So
yes, this would be a great pickup 5 years ago, but
that's the story of the Rangers
in the year 2022 of our Lord and Savior. Not so much.
Oh man, oh the Rangers. Well, they already have 500 million dedicated over 10
We
years.
just signed Kumar Rocker on a 5.2 million deal. So yeah, we continue to have the pieces they're building up for the future. Rangers had a pretty good draft this year. So it's just like, yeah, we're not looking. Yeah, the Rangers are just not in position to make another. We've got Seager and Simeon. They are kind of like the couple that were our big splash pickups. That's not something I think the Rangers are looking to do year after year. I think they really want to build from the ground up. So that's where things stand, I think, in that regard.
It sure does. And I mean, the Rangers would be better off not going for this guy because, again, you have to give up so much. And when you do, you get Soto until the end of 2024. So he's only 23. So you do get him all this year, all next year, and all the year after that. But when that time comes, you're going to have to deal with it eventually. And this guy, I think he is probably going to get the biggest contract in MLB history because he's insane. And he's only 23. And he'll be 25 by the time he is a free agent, which is, it's stupid. I mean, he's like, this guy is quickly becoming one of the greatest MLB players today. He's like in the Mike Trout level of epicness. I mean, his plate discipline is insane. His on-base percentage is compared to that of Ted Williams. His WRC plus is in the top 10 all time. And it's, I mean, you're being compared to like Stan Musial and all these guys, and he's insane. So I cannot wait a week from today to just gawk at where he goes. He's going to be awesome. So another big favorite, Wilson Contreras at the Cubs. Wilson Contreras is the most consistent offensive catcher in baseball. He is an awesome offensive at bat. He's batting in the mid 200s. He's got 13 bombs, 3 stolen bases, 455 slugging. They say he might. The Mets might be interested, Padres, Guardians, Cardinals, but it's just, I mean, I think the Rangers are good on catcher when it comes to Jonah Heim, at least from an offensive standpoint.
Yes. Jonah Heim does a pretty good job too at reading things at the plate and, has a good arm, good reactions. I think Jonah Heim is just an all around great catcher. I think the Rangers are set there, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
He's the most non-homerish analysis that I can give. Though, I mean, I'm due for some homerism here because we know you dish it out on a weekly basis with your Astros.
A weekly basis.
Yeah. But no, Heim is great. I don't think the catcher position is really a need for this organization right now.
Oh, yeah. Not at the moment. But the Astros, our catchers are some of the worst offensive catchers in baseball. And that's a fact. Maldonado is an epic pitcher behind the plate. He's caught a combined no-hitter and 2 immaculate innings this season, so his catching abilities are superior. But offensively, I mean, it'd be so nice to have an offensive juggernaut at the catcher level because I'm tired of that. Our catcher being in the 9-hole and just being a perennial 9-hole guy. I mean, Contreras, you can put this guy in like the 5-hole. I mean, you can even put him in you could put him in the 4-hole even. I mean, it's just when you have a catcher who can do up in the lineup like that, I mean, that's just legit. It's hard to come by. But very interested to see where this guy goes because this guy, like I said, one of the best offensive catchers in baseball. One of the best catchers, period. So easily a good number 2. Number 3, Luis Castillo. This is a right-handed pitcher from the Reds. This guy's good. 2.77 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. He's going to be a free agent in 2024. It's going to be a team that needs a good starter. The Dodgers have the best starting rotation in baseball in terms of just overall numbers without Walker Buehler, by the way. Giants could go after him. Phillies, Twins, Yankees. I'm wondering if the Giants might want to get some love from him. I know they got Rodon, but I don't know. I could maybe see them going after him. The Dodgers might, depending on the Walker Buehler situation. But this guy's definitely a pitching favorite. It's going to be interesting to see where everybody goes. So, he's from Luis Castillo with the Reds so far. They are going to want to milk him out for all they're worth because the Reds are also a bottom dweller. So, we got Andrew Benintendi, left field of the Royals. Benintendi's having a good year as of late. You know, he was with the Red Sox, and he made that catch in left field, which sent the Red Sox to the World Series in 2018. And it happened in left field at Minute Maid Park, so it stings to see him do well. But yeah, I mean, but he is becoming kind of like a good perennial, just average hitter. 317 batting average, phenomenal. He only has 3 bombs, but I mean, he puts the ball in play. So, Yankees, Braves, Guardians, Padres. He's gonna be a free agent after next year. I mean, a team that just wants a good average bat. I mean, and then it's always the teams, the bottom dwellers. I mean, you got the Nationals, Cubs, Orioles, Reds. These are all it's all these bottom dweller teams that are just they have the eye candy. They're like, come on, we have one good guy. We're gonna get rid of him. So, oh man, we'll see. But Frankie Montas, they're the A's best pitcher. He's going to be gone. Sean Murphy, excellent catcher for the A's. He's going to be gone. Josh Bell is also going to be gone from the Nationals, a first baseman, and I hope I'm all in on Josh Bell, baby. He's a first baseman DH. I want the Astros to get him. I want the Astros to get him. I would be pretty pumped. He's a lefty. He's 29 years old. He's in the prime of his career. Oh man, love to see that. The Astros get him. So, yeah. What do you think are some weak spots on the Rangers? Trav, in terms of positionally.
I feel like the infield is weaker than the outfield right now.
Okay.
Goodness,
2 of them you're giving the money to. I mean, look on Semien and Seager. So, I mean, are you talking first and third?
Yeah, actually, okay. I have it backwards. Excuse me. I'm thinking more of the outfield is where probably it's weaker.
Yeah.
There for the Rangers. I mean, there's some great defensive play out there and some really athletic guys, but just not. So the at bats have not been there lately in this department. It's there's one of the local sports stations here in DFW was talking about maybe it's not a trade deadline. Maybe Joey Gallo doesn't go away at the trade deadline, but maybe the Rangers just try and pick him up on like a super discounted deal over the off season and try and get some power there back on the outfield there. Yeah. 220 batting average, but we'll swing for the fences and live the no doubter way. And also be great at getting on base and be a nice guy for putting another man on base there and helping get things moving in that regard. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel with the Rangers right now in terms of a lot of conviction of if they're really in a position to give anything away and get anything really strong in return, or rather they should just kind of ride things out and continue to build. build over the off season and through free agency that way. That's almost kind of how I'm leaning with the Rangers right now. I don't know if I have any really strong trade convictions
Yeah.
this year. They were also talking on the air the day about Martin Perez. Says, hey, do you think that he's an asset that's hot right now? Could give you something to build on for the future that's more than just a rental. And I still just don't know in that regard either. I think the Rangers are just in a very kind of like precarious position. Not like precarious in like a bad way, but just precarious in terms of like, hey, what does the trade deadline really do for you this year? As a team, I think especially when you have as strong of a farm system and drafting as we've seen now for a couple of years with this organization. So that's how I sit in regard with the Rangers.
Yep. There are rumors that Cole Calhoun, the left fielder, is going to be traded. So hopefully they can get something good out of him. Leody Taveras, yeah. I mean, they need a strong center fielder. I don't know. They could go after Benintendi and get that'd be a great left fielder to have. I mean, he's batting well above 300. I mean, that'd be awesome. Burst to your offense. Nathaniel Lau, I mean, yeah, he's had better days for sure. Seager is starting to warm up. Simeon
has been really on fire now for the past few months, which has been phenomenal.
It's good to see that you're getting return on your investment in these two superstars because, I mean, giving them
a slow start to the year for both of them. But things really have come on, and they've been really become an integral part of this team.
Yeah, they got to build around them for sure. So, I mean, those are the cash cows, and then you got to hope that maybe Josh Young eventually comes into the mix so they can factor him in. The starting, that's going to be interesting to see how Kumar Rocker now and Jack Leiter, how they develop into the system. Leiter has enjoyed the minors more so than Rocker because Rocker's been playing independent ball for this whole time. So you're starting to see the starting pitchers coming into their own, and it's going to be a slow process, but I do hope that the Rangers get someone. I just don't know who it'll be. Will it be outfield? Will it be a reliever maybe? I don't know. They can go anyway. There's a lot of different ways to go. So, yeah, but I at least hope the Astros give offensively. And here's why. Last year, the Astros were the best offense in baseball. This year, it's slightly different. Our pitching is in the top 3, but our offense is kind of mid-tier. It's not bad, but it's not living up to its potential. So that's why I want us to go in on offense. Our pitching is so consistent, starting and bullpen. Our pitching coaches are fantastic. Lance McCullers is coming back. I really think if we get another bullpen arm, that's awesome. I mean, I wouldn't be mad, but I just think that our offense just needs a little bit of help. And even if we have too many hands, I don't know how we fit Josh Bell into it, but we will because Yuli Gurriel is going to be gone after tomorrow, or after this year, and we can say bye-bye to the Cuban wonder. The Cuba loves him. I don't know. But a team can use him for sure. I mean, Gooley, he won the batting title last year. He's having a little bit of a down year this year, but he's starting to pick back up. So we'll see. Other big names, you got a right-handed pitcher from the Pirates, Brian Reynolds, having a great year. Ian Happ is a utility player from the Cubs. That guy's also having a fantastic year. You know what? That could maybe be a good pickup for you guys. A good old utility player, or Brandon Drury from the Reds. That could just be your answer. It's a guy who could play anywhere, and he's good. So I don't know. And people are giving rumors that you might give away Martin Perez. I mean, Blue Jays, Brewers, Cardinals, Phillies, basically anyone who's buying. I don't know. Do you want the Rangers to give away Martin Perez?
It's a risk. I think that there's a future that's building within pitching. I'm almost that like how much of a long-term piece he is to the puzzle. You don't really know. But at the same time, this isn't the sexy thing to talk about, Major League Baseball today, and especially like with what I think, like the fan eye for what they're looking for in the game is, but especially like a Rangers part, like the Rangers Stadium now with Globe Life Field, which I think has proven to be pretty cavernous and has been kind of like a pitching anchored type of park. I think you cannot go wrong with pitching depth, and continuing to have pieces, and there is part of it. So it's like it's kind of like, you look at a guy who's been in the league now for 10 years and is having the best year of his career by far here now at the Rangers. But it's not like, he's had previous years where he's just been god awful. He just had it looked like more of his peak was average at points and times throughout this journey up here, between the Rangers the first time around, the Twins, the Red Sox, but now it really seems like it's coming all together for a total package for him. But you don't know if this is like a one-off type of thing, or if he can kind of, like it's going to be hard to top this year, really build as a consistent thing. But can he kind of have a more strengthened, increased average over a several year period that he builds off of with this, as opposed to, is this just like a flash in the pan for Martin Perez? So I'm going to lean towards the side of seeing Martin Perez as a long-term piece of the puzzle for the Rangers. I think he's a good locker room guy, a good clubhouse guy. I think he just has a good package of what he brings together on the mound. And I'd say, take the risk in that regard with him.
And keep him around and try to shore up everybody else, and maybe give up some relievers, and because, man, there's so many possibilities. The possibilities are endless. Trey Mancini is also a guy who they can potentially give up. Man, he won the Comeback Player of the Year, and he continues to do well. So, oh man, the have-nots are going to trade away what little they have. They're going to trade to the haves. The haves will have more, and they will give up some change, and the cycle will continue. And Joey Gallo, oh man, it's going to be really interesting to see where he goes. Can that guy just be somewhat good again? I mean, I know I don't want to be too a stickler on old school metrics, but I mean, come on, it's just maybe it's the lack of the beard. I mean, you shave the beard and the power goes away. I don't know. The left field's supposed to be the short porch, or right field's supposed to be the short porch.
I just don't think he was ever a fit culturally for New York. It's I think he has too much of a gimmicky game that it's the New York baseball faithful are never going to fully warm up to that. I don't think he's seen as a true Yankee up there, as someone that's like worthy of wearing the pinstripes in their eyes.
Yeah, neither is
Rizzo.
I think Rizzo. No. Rizzo fits like a glove in New York. He's producing. And
he's been in Chicago, which is another large market city too, with pretty rabid sports fans. So Rizzo, good correction. Yeah, Rizzo is fitting well there.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is Isaiah kind of for left. The Yankee fans have had enough of that guy, and I don't blame him. The Yankees. I'm watching the Jeter documentary, and it's just like I think New York Yankees, they need a superstar shortstop. I mean, they just do. It's the sexiest position, and the Yankees need the guy. And if they don't have the guy, IKF, he's a mediocre shortstop. I'm sorry.
There's a reason the Rangers got rid of him. It's Kiner Falefa had some flashes here and there for us. Super friendly guy. He was kind of it seemed like was this rising star kind of at one point. It kind of came on the scene, but reality is he was doing his job truly when the Rangers were just god awful, and that kind of inflated probably his worth. Which, I mean, it was great for which was great for his market viability over in the offseason. But you put that in actual practice in real time play, and it's just not. It hasn't been there for him.
Seriously, yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. But yep, I cannot wait because I remember when we did the trade deadline recap last year, and it was so much fun. And I love grading all the teams and seeing how they do. I really think the Mets are going to go in hard. I think Steve Cohen is really he wants this to be the year. Mets are going to be super scary this year. DeGrom's coming back. Scherzer is back, and he's already awesome. I think the Mets are going to go all out. They're hell bent on it. So I'm really interested to see what they do. I'm interested to see what the Yankees do to an extent. But I think the Mets did really. No, the Dodgers won the trade deadline last year because the Dodgers got Scherzer. The Mets won free agency. You could argue, but man, so they're going to be hungry. Dodgers, I don't know if they'll try to screw things up too bad. I'm obviously interested to see what the Astros do. I'm interested to see what the Padres do. I think this team really needs a pick me up because Tatis, his time this year where he debuts this year, it keeps getting pushed back, and he's playing out of his mind, but they need to stay competitive. The Dodgers are kind of pulling away. So at the end of the day, we'll see. Next week's going to be fun. So you guys got to join us in. It's going to be an awesome episode for sure. So yeah. Let's just do some quick recaps of all of the divisions. I'll turn it back over to you, Trav.
Yeah, man, we've been going at this now for almost an hour. We appreciate anybody who's tuned in with us tonight. Good seeing y'all back again.
Yes.
A few of y'all have tuned in here. I know more of y'all will listen to this wherever you get your podcasts once the episode comes out. But let's just do kind of some quick hits here on where things stand within the American League. And first off, I'll start before you head to the American League East. Just talking about the wild card situation right now. It currently sits with the Blue Jays right now at the top spot in the wild card. The Rays are just a game behind right there in that regard. And then the Mariners right now hold the final spot now in the wild card race. Now, a bit of a change. We'll give more context to that here in a second. And the American League East is just ridiculous here. Ridiculous, truly. And we've said that over and over again now, but in multiple ways. First off, now the Yankees have now have a plus 200 run differential on the year. Yes, you heard that right. Plus 200. They're a modest 5-5 in their last 10 games, but still that plus 200 run differential, 680 winning percentage right now. It's 66 wins on the year. They kill it at home and on the road. The Blue Jays, they're on a 16 winning streak right now, 8-2 in their last 10 games. The faces that we have talked about with that team remain the same. Alek Manoah really sitting things down on the mound. And then Vlad Guerrero Jr., Alejandro Kirk doing what they're doing up there north of the border. The Rays right now, are starting to put some things seemingly together and just keep themselves, right there. They're in the wild card race right now, but, have the opportunity to build some momentum here over the second half of the year. Because we've talked about just the Rays have excellent pitching. We've talked about the Shane McClanahan show all year. But, there's more. I look at these leading pieces right now on this team. The third baseman, Yandy Diaz, slashing 294, 408, and 402. But then, some other guys that are coming in and being an integral part of this team as well at this point now. Here, a mix of both the infield and the outfield. The second baseman, Isaac Paredes, with 13 home runs on the year, the 216 batting average, which you'd like to see get a bit better, but also responsible for 28 runs batted in on the season so far. And then Randy Arozarena, the star of last year, the star left fielder, 44 runs batted in. He's been responsible for this year, 12 home runs, and also has a 255 batting average. So just behind Paredes in that regard there, the home run department. Like we said, pitching has been great for this team. Fourth in the league for both earned run average, walks and hits by innings pitched, and then runs allowed are just or walks allowed just 8th in the league as well. Tied for 17th, 32 quality starts. Overall, they've had things down the mound. It's just been a matter of the offense, which has been more of on the back half of the league this year. 22nd in runs, on base percentage and slugging percentage, and then 20th in batting average in the league. But yeah, you see these. You look at when you see these leaders here offensively, being a good mix of the infield and the outfield. That's a good sign of something to build around, is seeing more of a congruence in your lineup and what guys can bring to the plate. They've had some good. They've lost a few games over the past few days, but they've also had some good wins too. 7-3 wins and 7-5 wins over the Royals and the Orioles, respectively. Had an overall series win over the Orioles. Swept the Red Sox, which we'll talk about that dumpster fire here in a second. But 5-4, 4-1, 3-2, and 10-5 in those games. So things are starting to really trend in the right direction for this Rays team. But the Red Sox, goodness gracious, the wheels have really come off right now up in Boston. The offense has gone colder than the New England winters themselves. It's yeah, they just got all sorts of problems right now. The bats cannot get going. JD Martinez is possibly could possibly be trade bait for this team. You've got what's his name here? Sorry, he's not on this tab. You've got Rafael Devers that's has a hamstring injury now that's gone on the injured list. But like I said, the offense is just kind of gone completely silent now. This team is at a -10 run differential at this point in the year. 49-48, just barely hanging on to a winning record. The losses have been incredibly ugly here in terms of dropping a series, dropping now 3 straight series to the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Rays. Some of these losses include a 28-5 loss to the Blue Jays, 13-2 and 14-1 losses in that series loss over the Yankees, 10-5 loss opening up over Tampa a couple weeks back. There's a lot of work to be done if this team wants to get back trending in the right direction for the wild card. But things are just, I've admittedly kind of drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit for for this Red Sox team this year, and maybe that's coming back down to earth at this point right now. But one team that we do need to give a shout out, what ultimately wraps up the ridiculousness here of this AL East, is that there are no teams with a losing record in here.
Yes.
Because the Baltimore Orioles now sit at a perfect 48-48, excuse me, a 500 record on the season, just a -7 run differential right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. Let's give a quick shout out here to the pieces that have really been keeping these going. In terms of like overall team stats right now, nothing real sexy. Back half of league and offensive performance, how that's averaging, and then pitching as well. But there's some guys here that we gotta give a shout out to. Left fielder Austin Hayes slashing 268, 324, and 448. Anthony Santander, the right fielder, 16 home runs, batting 242 and 50 runs batted in on the year. And then on the pitching side of things, Jordan Lyles, has pretty rough ERA of 4.79, but has 93 strikeouts that he has been responsible for as a starter. Also has 6 wins in there. So when he's on, he's on. Tyler Wells leading this team with 7 wins and a 3.69 ERA, also 63 strikeouts credited to him. It's you have to give a shout out to this Orioles organization. What were not big expectations for them at all. They were right up there with the Reds in terms of just a god awful start to beginning of the year. It looked it didn't look good up there in Baltimore. But it's some fun baseball right now that the Oriole faithful are being treated to right now. And overall, just a continually wild American League at this East at this point in time.
There you go. It is truly a remarkable division. It is really, with the Orioles doing as well as they are, it's even more crazy than it already typically is. It's typically a 4-horse race, and now the Yankees are just stupid good. And I just think the teams, they got to catch up. I mean, it's in order for any of the teams, the Rays and the Blue Jays, to catch back up, a lot has to go bad for the Yankees, and a lot has to go good for the second and third place team. Don't know if that's going to happen. I think the wild card's going to be great. The fact that there's 3 teams. So happy for the Blue Jays starting to show up. They're on a 6-game win streak, for crying out loud. They just pummeled the Red Sox. Epic fashion. So it's a fun division to cover for sure. So I'm glad it's panning out that way. Quick love to the National League wild card as it is. You got the Braves, Padres, and Cardinals in the 3 spots. Phillies are half game out. Giants are 2.5 games out. So, and the Marlins of all teams, with one of the best pitchers in baseball, Sandy Alcantara, 5 games out. So, very interesting to see how that's mixing. But for now, the NL East is still a 2-horse race with the Mets and the Braves. The Mets are on top, 59-37, and the Braves are 2 games back. They have a +82 and a +74 run differential, respectively. It's close. I keep thinking the Mets are just going to eke it out, but the Braves, they're really showing up. The Mets this is their year. I feel like Buck Showalter is becoming a really good fit. Scherzer is doing fantastic so far when he's back. DeGrom is coming back, people. He is on his way back, and he's going to come back with a vengeance. The best pitcher in all of baseball. That's right, all of baseball. He will require at least 1 more rehab start prior to rejoining the Mets rotation. That was as of before the All-Star break. So his return's imminent, guys. He's coming back. But the Braves are still competitive. Austin Riley, 945 OPS, 28 home runs. We just conveniently forget the fact that he has 28 home runs. I mean, the guy's insane. Dansby Swanson, 2, 816 OPS. Matt Olson fits like a glove, 18 bombs, 826 OPS. My goodness gracious. I would love to see the pitching get better for the Braves, even though it is already pretty elite. You got Max Fried, 273 ERA, Kyle Wright, 295, Charlie Morton, a 420 ERA, starting to dial in a little bit. I want Ian Anderson to do better. I think if he can start dialing it in, I think they're going to be really, really good. Kenley Jansen's okay. He's not elite, though, but Colin McHugh is a rock-solid reliever, former Astro. He's doing very well for himself with a 3.05 ERA, very respectable. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. Love to see the Braves defend the title as well as they do. The Phillies are 9 games back, but they are still in the thick of it. They're still in the thick of the wild card race, and they have over 50 wins. So Sandy Alcantara, though, that guy is a stud muffin, and I would love to see the Marlins try to close that 5-game gap in the wild card. I just think that they owe Sandy Alcantara a good showing, but that might be too little too late. And then the Washington Nationals, a team that is about to fire sale on top of fire sale. Worst record in MLB, and they are 27 games back. Yes, they are.
Better luck next year.
Better luck next year. They are going. Their fans are going to leave in the droves. Negative 159 run differential. Yikes! That's disgusting. There you go. That's the NL East for you.
Yep, it's fun times up on the Upper East Coast of America right now, baseball-wise. But let's start making our way out west, and we'll take our first stop in America's heartland.
Yes.
As right, folks, we're talking about, as we talk about on our show every week here when I make that statement, the American League Central. The Twins just continue to hold serve right there with 3.5-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians, sitting 52-44 on the year, 542 winning percentage, plus 40 run differential, 5-5 in their last 10 games. The usual pieces we talked about just continue to do their job, like Arias and Buxton and Joe Ryan holding things down there on the mound. The Guardians, 3.5 games behind right now. Andres Jimenez, Jose Ramirez, we've talked about before, continue to do what they're doing. Tristan McKenzie, has been a big part pitching wise for that team. Just hit the century mark and strikeouts on the year, 3.11 ERA. Like to see that get a little bit better. But also has 7 wins credited to him. Shane Bieber as well with 110 strikeouts now on the year. We talked about last time that he had just hit that century mark, and now he's got 10 more added to his credits on an incredible season for him. And then the White Sox, stop us, folks, if you've heard this before. When we're talking about the 2022 edition of this team, they are 500 right now, just 4 games back on a 2-game win streak right now, 7-3 in their last 10 games. But still looking at a minus 19 run differential right now. If they're going to compete, they're going to be playing in fun differential territory, presumably through the rest of the season, unless things change. They're so weird that they are 27-21 on the road, but at home they're up at Guaranteed Rate Field on the south side of Chicago. They're just 21-27. Really, really odd that they've had the home struggles like they have this year. Who knows about them? I mean, they're right there in striking distance, but there's just not a lot of. I think there's just not a lot of optimism there, and mostly frustration among the White Sox faithful this year. 3.5 games behind in the wild card race right now for one of those spots for the White Sox as well. The Royals, really nothing to talk about with them. And the Tigers, the Tigers are just such an interesting team in terms of like what their future looks like here with the trade deadline coming up and then this off season, everything, the idea of, hey, is AJ Hinch really the answer for this organization? Can Spencer Torkelson get things on track at some point there? I think he maybe was optioned down into the minors recently there. I know he had to have a really tough conversation with Hinch the other day. But they've got a future with obviously with Jace Young coming in soon, the 12th overall pick in the 2022 Major League Baseball draft, the Texas Tech superstar there. And there's other young pieces as well that are on the up and up for that organization. But tough times right now in the Motor City, and just sitting 116 game minus 116 run differential for that team this year, dead last in the division, 39-58. They're just been a tough year for the Tigers this year.
Yep. Josh Young is going. Jace Young.
Yes.
Going to the Motor City. Yes. Happy for him. Man, the Tigers, the rebuilding years are still far away. Much to their displeasure. They have good pitching, though. They have 2 studs. I think Chafin is going to be.
They just can't hit the broadside of a barn, and that leaves no room for their pitching.
No room for. They got some good starters in Chafin and Falmer, but man, they need some help. That is for sure. So, moving on into the NL Central, the Brewers have a 2-game lead over the Cardinals. The Brewers just don't go away. I'm getting convinced that the Cardinals are going to surpass them, but the Brewers just stay. They are studs. They stay in it, and I think a lot of that has to do with their pitching being as well as it is, even though the Cardinals is better, but it's good enough. The pitching and the offense is starting to pick up. Believe it or not, I think that's really working out for them. Yelich is kind of underwhelming for sure, but you still got Adames, 20 bombs, 761 OPS. Rowdy Tellez, 18 bombs, 762 OPS. I mean, they're holding it down. Hunter Renfroe, 16 bombs, 813 OPS. I mean, you got plenty of offensive weapons there. For the Brewers, Corbin Burnes, my pick to win the Cy Young. He has a 2.20 ERA and a 0.93 WHIP. Alcantara is definitely the front runner for the Cy Young at this point, but Burnes is doing justice to the Cy Young. He is doing well. He is their ace for sure. Other starters, I mean, want to see their ERAs go down. Eric Lauer, he's pitching a lot of innings, but it's only 384. Hauser's 472. You got Aaron Ashby, 438. Really want to see that come down. Josh Hader is Josh Hader, starting to not be as elite. He has a 4.50 ERA. He was lights out for so long, and now he's starting to, he's starting to show some humanity there. So your secret weapon is starting to fade a little bit, but I think they're still good overall. I mean, they're still competitive. But the Cardinals, this is kind of like the Mets. They're a fun team. They're a team that likes to have fun, and man, do they have weapons. The MVP frontrunner, Paul Goldschmidt, the video games numbers, they persist. 335 batting average, 417 on base percentage, 619 slugging for a 1.036 OPS, 24 bombs, 5.3 wins above replacement. That's all stupid. I mean, it's like this guy is not human. He's simply not human. I mean, I continue to be in awe of this individual. Nolan Arenado, I mean, he cooled down a little bit, but now he's heating back up. He's 296 batting average, 887 OPS, 18 bombs, 5.1 wins above replacement. Tommy Edman, too. I mean, 4.3 wins above replacement. I mean, they just have weapons on top of weapons, and it's just elite the whole way through. Miles Mikolas, 287 ERA. Adam Wainwright, 340 ERA. I mean, it's just that's good for a guy that age. I mean, but Mikolas is really stealing the show when it comes to their rotation. It would be so cool if they got another weapon in their rotation, which I hope they do. I think if they just get one more rock solid starter, I think they're going to put themselves in the best position to contend with the Brewers. So very eager to see what they're going to do at the trade deadline. I think that will go a long way. Is just shoring up their pitching. Offense, I don't think that's a problem for these guys. The Cardinals, they have the best runs scored in the whole division, but I'm pumped for these guys. Pujols, you got Pujols, Molina, Wainwright. The three amigos are back, and the city of St. Louis is rocking. With the Cubs, a distant 13 games back, it is a 2-horse race.
That it is. The National League Central just continues to be a fascinating race there among those two teams located right there in America's heartland.
Yes.
Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. And now we're going to head all the way out west. Out west and then up towards the Pacific Northwest. There is no California Gold Rush this year because the Angels and the A's really are doing nothing in Major League Baseball this year. But the Houston Astros continue to sit on top with a nearly exact 2/3 winning percentage, 64-33 on the year, 660 winning percentage, 30-14 at home, and 34-19 on the road. They have just crossed the century mark in the run differential now at plus 107. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Justin Verlander's show continues on the mound. Yordan Alvarez, we've talked about. Air Yordan continuing to kill it like he does out there in left field in that part of the rotation. The Mariners, like we talked about, they're now the third and final team in the AL wild card race. Ty France, the first baseman, slashing 312, 382, 485. Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman, 16 home runs on the year, leads this team with a 236 batting average and also 51 runs batted in. And then the star himself, Julio Rodriguez, the center fielder, 52 runs batted in on the year. This year's runner-up in the home run derby, as we talked about, 16 home runs in the regular season and a 275 batting average. Things are really coming together offensively for this team. The fun differential is a thing of the past. It looks like this team will not finish the year in any such fashion. And the offense continues like it does. Things are looking on the up and up here for this team heading towards the hunt for October. And then pitching, Logan Gilbert continuing to do very well in that regard. 277 ERA, 10 wins, and 112 strikeouts on the year. And Robbie Ray with 136 strikeouts and 390 ERA and 8 wins to his credit. So good baseball is being played up there in the Pacific Northwest, up in Seattle. Is this the year that for the first time in 21 years that the Mariners will go back to the Major League Baseball playoffs? We shall soon see. And then talking about the Texas Rangers to close it out.
Yes.
Wheels are kind of falling off here, unfortunately. The bats have gone cold. Pitching depth is really being tested. You've had some key losses, series losses to the Mariners and the A's as of recent. It's things are tough. You've got Nathaniel Lowe is doing pretty good for first base, slashing 272, 322, 444. We talked about Corey Seager with his 23 home runs on the year, 248 batting average, and 53 runs batted in. Dolis Garcia continuing to do well, 59 runs batted in, leading this team. And then pitching, Martin Perez. It's kind of cooled off a little bit, but still sits at a very good 2.59 ERA. 100 and just crossed the century mark in strikeouts with 101 so far on the year. John Gray also has 105 strikeouts too, and a 3.48 ERA. Just not enough horses all around for that team to probably quite put themselves back into contention for the wild card. They're definitely slipping there, down to 8 games behind in that department. But yeah, the things kind of hold serve so far in the AL West.
There you go. Man, the Astros just continue to have an iron grip on that division. Their pitching is truly stellar. They have a run allowed number that is truly exceptional. The only teams that have better run allowed are the Dodgers and the Yankees. And the pitching is what keeps the Astros in, and their offense is starting to heat up, so they just become the complete package, which is hard for teams like the Mariners. They swept the Yankees. They swept the Mariners. The Astros are the bane of the Yankees' existence, and if I were the Yankees, I would not want to face the Astros ever again. It doesn't matter if it's in the playoffs, but it's all things are pointing towards an Astros-Yankees ALCS, which I will want so bad, and I will enjoy the heck out of it. And I think who's going to be the number 1 and who's going to be the number 2 seed? That's the question between the Astros and Yankees. And we will see. Of course, I want the Astros to be the number 1 seed. Either way, you get a bye. Mariners, I think they have the potential to make the wild card, that's for sure. But I think the Blue Jays, I think that team they're going to gun for it pretty hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard to catch up with them. So, to my pleasure, for sure. So, last but not least, the NL West. The Dodgers are really starting to pull away. The Padres, they stay competitive to their credit for a long time, but the Dodgers are just they're the most complete team in baseball. My goodness. Plus 178 run differential. They're 11.5 games ahead. Padres need Tatis back. They need to make a splash in the trade deadline, and I'm hoping they do, because they owe their fan base that. Giants have really fallen off the map. I'm kind of disappointed. They won the division last year. Barely, but they did. And they're 16.5 games back. It's just the Giants and the Padres. They're big market teams. They need to make a splash. They need to start to close that gap and make a run at that wild card. So this division needs to shore up like it always is. But the Dodgers are just so deep. They're so stacked. What are we going to do with this team? They're just a complete package. Trey Turner, 15 bombs, 848 OPS. Freddie Freeman, 15 bombs, 937 OPS with a 539 slugging. It's just, he's awesome. He might not like playing there, but he plays his heart out, even though he doesn't like it. Nah, it's joking. Halfway joking. But anyway, Mookie Betts, He's a top 5 player in baseball for a reason. 22 bombs, 865 OPS, 525 slugging. My goodness. And despite on the pitching end of things, Walker Buehler being MIA, this 4, I mean, their pitching is insane. Tyler Anderson, 279 ERA. Julio Urias, 272. Tony Gosnelin, despite the fact that he gave up those homers in the All-Star game, he has a 226 ERA. Clayton Kershaw has a 249 ERA. Clayton Kershaw is back, people. While his innings are not as high as Anderson and Urias and the young bloods like Gosnelin, Clayton's back. He ain't going away. He's still got it. He is filthy. And they're the best pitching staff in baseball. And it's just, they spend money like it's nobody's business. They make it rain like nobody else. And I mean, you got to call them the favorites to win the National League pennant at this point. Unless the Mets can pick it back up, the Dodgers are just too good. So there you go. That's it. That is the landscape of things. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the swing of things. Week after week, we're going to carry it all the way to the end. And going to give the quick latest and greatest No Doubter rankings. Cardinals at number 10. They're still contending. Blue Jays at number 9. I think they've earned it. I think the 6-game win streak, they're starting to contend. You got the Padres at number 8, going down a little bit. Brewers starting to heat up. They're really fighting hard for that division. At the number 6 position, you got the Twins. I mean, you got to show them some love. They're really heating up themselves, and they're starting off the season or the second half on a good front. Braves continue to hold the number 5. Mets at number 3, and then 4, and then the top 3. There was a shakeup. The Yankees used to be number 1, but they moved down to the number 3. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. They got absolutely humiliated by a team that will be named in a second. Dodgers maintain number 2, and unapologetically, the number 1 team in baseball is the Houston Astros. They swept the Yankees. They swept the Mariners. They, to be fair, utter people like Ben Verlander put him as number 1 in their power rankings. This is not too much of a stretch. The homerism is not clouding my judgment. They are 64-33. They have a plus 107 run differential. When you beat the best team in baseball and handedly, and you sweep a team that was on a 14-game win streak, might I add, and they just demolish them at home. When you do all that, I mean, I could have put the Dodgers at number 1, but did I really want to? If it's a toss-up, we all know what's going to happen. Man, please direct your hate to all the comments. And
yes, nodoubterpod@gmail.com.
Yes, we will read it. Sure. So there you go. Thank y'all so much for joining us for this extra special episode of No Doubter. Trade deadline next week, people. Tuesday night. It's a recap. It's one of my favorite episodes that we do. So join us for that. But in order to do that, you got to subscribe wherever you're listening to our show. Apple Podcast, Spotify. We're on all the platforms. So subscribe so you don't miss out week after week after week. Baseball action coming your way. Many more guests coming up, including a surprise guest next week who will remain nameless. It's a repeat guest. This person's awesome. So you're not going to want to miss out. Leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the show. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. At No Doubter Pod. I'm at Boombossy21. Travis Lofley's at Travis Lofley. Subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel so you can see our faces. We have visuals, people. We have beer. We have bourbon. We show No Doubters of the Week. So watch us. Watch us, people. It's awesome. Join our Patreon if you're a fan of us, you want to help us out, we would truly appreciate it. The more you give, the more you get. We got to shout out our patrons. Longest standing patron, Tad Bostic, and Patreon producer, super Patreon producer, Don Hale. You two are awesome. And then you can get decked out in the swag, people. Mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, baseball shirts, phone cases. Truly everything for the whole family. It's all there. All the links in the description below. T-Bone, do it, baby.
Second half of the Major League Baseball season is in full swing now. Teams are giving it their all, and you can give it your all in whatever you do in your life. You can live the no doubter way and take life as if you were batting 400 and always swinging for the fences. We love you guys. We will see y'all again next time.
See y'all.